Yo, isang magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat, mga kalapatids. Narito na po tayo sa part 3 ng ating segment. Ito po ang tungkol sa Pigeon Paramyxo virus. So isang pagtatama po, isang correction lang po. Hindi po pala Paramyxo. Yung pala ay isang Paramyxo. Paramyxo virus po ang tamang pronunciation po dito. So sorry po sa mga hindi pa po nakakapag-like, subscribe, share, paki-subscribe na po sa aking YouTube channel para po updated po sa aking mga ilalabas na YouTube videos. So ngayon po ito tatapos naman po nating kumain. So ayan, magmamadali po tayo na masimulan po ang ating topic. So, well po sa lahat sa mga subscriber ko, maraming salamat po sa inyo sa support na binibigay ninyo kay Kalapatids Pigeon Love. So ito mga Kalapatids, sisimulan ko na po ang part 3 ng ating topic, ang tungkol po sa Pigeon Paramyxo virus, information for veterinarians. Ito po galing po sa mga veterinaryo, PPMB1 Introduction. The avian paramyxovirus type 1 in pigeons is a viral infection that is present in most countries that can spread rapidly and cause high rates of pigeon illness and death. The first Australian detection was in Victoria in August 2011. It has since spread and become epidemic in domestic and feral pigeon population in Victoria, Tasmania, and South Australia. The disease was also reported to affect a spotted turtle down, an introduced species, and a predatory sparrowhawk, a native species. So the virus, Paramyxovirus strains and generally capable of affecting other avian species including poultry, but so far there has not been any detection of natural infection of poultry. Avian Paramyxovirus type 1 PPMB1 is a very serious disease that can kill up to 100% of pigeons in some lofts. Yan po. Nakakapatay po daw ang disease o ang virus na ito ng 100% of pigeons sa ibang mga lofts natin o ang ating mga kulungan. Some of the signs of PPMB infections include lethargy, vomiting or regurgitation, green diarrhea, twisting of the neck, circling, head flicking, labored breathing, and runny eyes and beak. Since sick bird can die with 3 days. So pwede po silang mamatay ng hanggang 3 araw. Yung mga malalala pong meron na pong infected ng ganitong virus, The infection is spread easily between birds and there is no specific treatment. So ayan, wala pa pong specific treatment na makakapag-cure dito sa tinamaan ng virus na ito, ang Paramyxo virus. Para po sa mga kaalaman ng mga beginners at ng mga newbie, Infected birds may shed the virus in their faces and other discharge, contaminating the environment, including feed, water, equipment, and human clothing. Excuse me po. And allowing transmission to other birds. Avian Paramyxovirus 1 can survive to several weeks in the environment, especially in cool weather. Diagnosis. The clinical signs and gross pathological changes, if any, are not specific to avian paramyxovirus. Many other bird disease can cause similar signs. So confirmation of PPMB1 requires laboratory analysis. Any suspected dead birds or samples, organs, or swabs should be forwarded in an sky with ice packs to Agribio State Laboratory located at La Trobe's Melbourne campus in Bundura. A person who suspects that birds may have PPMB1 should immediately contact a veterinarian and phone the Department of Economic Development, Jobs, Transport and Resources Customer Service Center on 136-186. So yan po ang pwede nilang puntahan ng veterinaryo dito po sa kanilang bansa, no? Protection from spread. In assuming responsibility for protecting their pigeons, keepers should consider implementing biosecurity measures and vaccination for the birds. So the biosecurity. Pigeon owners' primary defense against PPMB1 is to prevent the introduction of the disease into their loft by the implementation of the following biosecurity procedures. So cleaning and disinfecting footwear and washing hands and clothes after visiting the birds. Keeping lofts and equipment clean. Disinfecting equipment used to house, transport, feed and water other birds. Preventing wild birds and feral pigeons and their droppings from having contact with your pigeons or contaminating their feed or water. Quarantine for at least 2 weeks any new birds or birds returning from a show or a race. Limiting any unnecessary visitors to your pigeon's loft. So ayan, no? I-limit lamang po daw natin yung mga unnecessary visitor na gusto pong makita ang ating loft. So vaccination. There is no currently registered PPMB1 vaccine for use in pigeons in Australia. However, the Newcastle disease vaccines registered for use in chickens are available for off-label use in pigeons with a written instruction of a veterinarian. The ND vaccine provides adequate protection against PPMB1 and minimizes the potential impact of spread of infection. The research trial on the use of ND vaccine showed that they are safe to use in pigeons. And if pigeons are vaccinated properly twice, they are likely to produce antibody levels that should protect them against PPMB1. Inactivated or killed ND vaccines in 2 applications at 4 weeks apart are used to vaccinate pigeons against PPMB1. An inactivated vaccine is a vaccine that contains a virus that has been killed. The vaccine also contains adjuvants to stimulate stronger and longer lasting immunity. So, inactivated vaccine must not be frozen. They should be kept at the manufacturer's recommended temperature, which is usually between 4 to 8 degrees centigrade. Only healthy pigeons in healthy flocks should be vaccinated. It is important to vaccinate all the pigeons in a loft to optimize loft protection. Your pigeons are often given the first vaccine dose at 4 weeks of age and the second vaccine dose, yung dosage po na 4 weeks later. An annual booster vaccination is highly recommended. So ayan mga kalapatids, ang ilang information regarding po sa PPMB virus. So ayan, ito naman po ang iba pang mga na-research ko tungkol sa Paramyxo virus type 1. Ito po ay hatid ng Department of Primary Industries. The Pigeon Paramyxo virus type 1 is an infection viral disease affecting pigeons. PPMB1 is also known as avian paramyxo virus type 1. So dito po na-detect ang pigeons sa unang na-detect in pigeon lofts in the Melbourne area. PPMB1 has been confirmed in racing, fancy and feral pigeons in SW. The PPMB1 virus is now considered established in Australia. Human infection with PPMB1 is rare and usually occurs only in people who have close direct contact with infected pigeons. The virus causes only mild flu-like symptoms. What clinical signs are seen in pigeons? Pigeons affected by PPMB1 are reluctant to leave the loft when released for exercise and appear a bit fluffed up and off color. So what clinical signs seen in pigeons? High number of affected pigeons. Number 2, high number of deaths, up to 100% in some lofts. Number 3, loss of appetite. Number 4, increased thirst. Number 5, lethargy. Number 6, respiratory signs. Example is labored breathing. So number 7, greenish watery diarrhea. Number 8, vomiting or regurgitation. Number 9, neurological signs. Head shaking, circling, head persistently turned to one side. Yung pong paikot-ikot ang kanilang mga leeg, ano? So there is no specific treatment for PPMB1. Infected pigeons often die within 72 hours but may survive with supportive therapy. The example is electrolytes, acidifying agents, probiotics. The addition of electrolytes to the drinking water is the most effective treatment. Control of other diseases that may be affecting the pigeons is also important. A milder version of the disease has also been identified in domestic pigeons. This primarily occurs in the younger pigeons that have not yet received 2 vaccinations, but also occasionally in older birds if annual booster vaccinations have been delayed. Similar clinical signs are seen with minimal neurological signs, but less pigeons are affected and symptoms are less severe. Most pigeons recover with supportive therapy. How will my veterinarian diagnose the PPMB1 in my pigeons? Confirmation of PPMB1 infection requires a laboratory diagnosis. Separate tracheal or pharyngeal in live birds. Swabs in cloacal swabs should be placed in virus transport medium. Example is the phosphate buffered gelatin and submitted chilled to NSW Department of Primary Industries. So how does PPMB1 spread? The PPMB1 spread and the factors that can lead to spread or disease include contact with infected pigeons, including strays or feral pigeons, contact with contaminated traveling boxes or transporters that have not been cleaned and disinfected adequately, shared drinking water or food in lofts and transporters, virus carried on clothes, hands, and footwear of loft visitor. So what can we do to prevent the PPMB1 in our pigeons? Simple biosecurity measures that can be implemented to prevent the introduction of PPMB1 into flocks or lofts include: so prevent feral pigeons from having contact with your pigeons. Prevent feed and water being contaminated by feral pigeons and other discharges. Limit unnecessary visitors to your pigeons. Isolate introduced pigeons including strays and any pigeons returning from a show or race for at least 2 weeks before introducing them to your loft. Attend to introduce pigeons last each day and ensure clean clothing, footwear before attending to loft pigeons in the next day. Keep lofts and equipment clean. So practice good hygiene when attending bird shows, auctions, other lofts, etc. Wash your hands and clean clothing, footwear after visiting other pigeons. So clean and disinfect equipment used to house, transport, feed, and water pigeons. So the detergents, example is the washing up liquid, laundry detergent, and car truck wash detergents can be used to loosen and remove dirt prior to disinfection. In order to be effective, detergents must have a contact time of at least 15 minutes before washing off. So, can the pigeons be vaccinated against PPMB1? Yes. There is a registered inactivated vaccine available in Australia that can aid in the control of PPMB1 in pigeons. The pigeons can be supplied by your veterinarian So, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instruction for storage and use of vaccine. It is recommended that organizer of pigeon races ensure that only healthy vaccinated pigeons are allowed to participate at these events. So, the last topic, do I have to report cases of PPMB1? Yes. PPMB1 is a notifiable disease under NSW legislation. This means you have a legal obligation to notify authorities if you know or suspect that pigeons have this disease. You may notify, suspect, or confirm PPMB1 in one of the following ways. Dito po ito, no, sa kanilang bansa, sa Australia po. So, you may contact your local land services, contact a NSW Department of Primary Industries, veterinarian, or regulatory officer, or complete the online form dito po sa biosecurity.transactcentral.com. Yan po. Yan po mga kalapatids, yan po nagtatapos ang ating research tungkol po dito sa kumakalat na virus na PPMB1 bacteria. So kailangan po mga kalapatids, ini-encourage ko po kayo na maglinis po ng ating loob. So kapag po tayo ay may mga bisita, kailangan po ay maghugas muna sila ng kamay. Ayan, bago po pumunta sa ating loob. So kailangan limitahan lamang po natin ang mga bisita na pupunta po sa ating mga loob, dahil po hindi po natin alam na doon po sa kanilang loob ay may infected din po ng ganitong virus. So nakakahawa din po yan, mga kalapatids, ang kung sa kanilang loob ay mayroong sintomas ng ganitong sakit. So ngayon nga po mga kalapatids, hindi pa po tayo nakakaraos sa muting trahedya, hindi pa po nakakaraos ang taga Batangas sa sinapit po na tragic doon, sa pagsabog po ng Bulkang Mayon. Sumunod naman po itong coronavirus. So ayan mga kalapatids, hindi ko nga po alam kung ano pong klaseng disaster ang sasapit pa sa atin, mga pagsubok na darating sa ating buhay ngayong taon na ito, 2020. So ayan, meron naman po isa mga kalapatids, hindi pa po tapos ang coronavirus. Meron naman pong N5N1. Yan po ang avian virus, sakit po yan ng mga ibon. So ayan mga kalapatids, ingatan po natin ang ating mga ibon, ilimit lamang po natin ang pagpapakawala sa kanila para makaiwas po tayo sa N5N1 virus na ito. So yan po ay nanggagaling sa mga ibon, So ayan mga kalapatids, hanggang dito na lang po, at hanggang sa muli po. Sa next topic ko ay magbibigay po tayo ng information sa bioresearch. Ayan mga kalapatids, i-inform ko po kayo kung ano na po ang nangyayari sa construction po ng bioresearch. So updated ko po kayo sa next topic ko, mga kalapatids. So hanggang dito na lang po, at ako magpapaalam na. Ingat-ingat po tayo, mga kalapatids. Ingat-ingat, at lagi po tayong mag-o-observe sa ating mga loob, sa ating mga kulungan, sa ating mga hawla, para makaiwas po sa sakit. Ang ating mga ibon ay kailangan po natin silang bigyan ng mga food supplement, mga vitamins, ganyan. So ayan, mga electrolytes para pampatibay ng kanilang resistensya at ng kanilang katawan. So hanggang dito na lang po mga kapatid, ako po yung magpapaalam na. At hanggang sa muli, ito po yung lingkod na nagpapaalala sa inyo. Mula si Milya hanggang karera, may labang ka. Ito po yung lingkod, si Kalapatids, Pigeon, Love!